Hello, this is Arielle from Inconspicuous Bear, and I'll be narrating the 10-man version of the Heroic Siegecrafter Blackfuse encounter in the Siege of Orgrimmar from a Guardian point of view. There are no changes to the encounter mechanics that affect a tank per se, more so that you have to actually manage them as opposed to just swapping it every 3 stacks like you do on normal mode. If you do want a recap of all the existing encounter mechanics like the saw blades and the lasers and all that crap, go ahead and check out the normal mode guide, which you'll find a link to in the top right hand corner of the screen for the next 10 or 15 seconds, instead of just expecting me to redo that because that's just a waste of my time. As a tank, the biggest change to this encounter is how you have to manage the shredders and therefore the stacks of the electrostatic charge debuff that you get from the boss. This is totally dependent on what classes you have tanking and basically how you want to do it. There are a number of ways you can do it. What you'll see in the video is how we handle having a Guardian and a Burmaster Monk. This is probably what I'd recommend for this particular combination. You could do it differently if you have a Warrior versus a Paladin versus a DK or whatever. But this tends to work. This would probably work well for any tank combination. However, you could probably get away with swapping even earlier for other combinations or taking more stacks. It really depends on what you want to do. For the first shredder, I start tanking the boss, and I will take 3 stacks of the electrostatic charge debuff before I go ahead and kill the first shredder. This is really easy to handle. Basically, you don't even need a cooldown for the first 2, and then for the third one, you can just use Barkskin because it'll coincide with the the enrage thing that he gets after you kill a weapon. So the third one will coincide with that. So you use Barkskins and keep up Savage Defense, and then you should be fine, completely fine for that electrostatic charge. Then you go ahead and kill the first shredder. For this particular shredder, I use Incarnation, Nature, and Nature's Vigil to just basically kill a shredder as soon as possible. Since I'm wearing the DPS cloak, it's actually really easy. I don't even need to sit it in a saw blade or anything. I can just burst it down really simply. If you don't feel comfortable wearing the DPS cloak, you really should, because nothing on this fight particularly painful. Then you might need to pay more attention to it and probably use more mauls than I would, or maybe sit on it longer after it comes down during the after Death from Above. But in any case, it's really just about avoiding getting knocked up twice from Death from Above and then a missile, because that will cause some major issues. If you get knocked up, charged down, then knocked up again, you'll lose a bunch of DPS time when you stun from Death from Above, which can be really bad, and you might get a 4th overcharge. Basically, you want to, at all costs, avoid getting 4 overcharges. Your goal is to only get 3. A 4th one is really deadly, especially to people on belts, because they won't be in range of healers. In order to kill the second shredder in time, because your other tank will only have 2 stacks at this point, so they can't kill anything, I run back right after the third shredder dies in order to taunt the boss before the next electrostatic charge. I'll use Survival Instincts, take the hit, and then run right back out in order to grab the second shredder. On the second shredder, I use Berserk right after Death from Above finishes, and also an Agility Potion, and it dies pretty easily. There's no real worry there, because the extra stack makes it pretty much fall over. After the second shredder dies, you should be running back to the boss, and at this point, your co-tank will have 5 stacks and run out to kill the next shredder. Now, one thing to remember is that in terms of positioning and weapons, at this point we have an empowered magnet out. You may or may not, I have no idea. And it's really important to note that we don't do the kill the mines on the platform strat, we kill the mines on the belts. So obviously our positioning is totally not optimal for a killing mines on platform strat. We put him where the best place is in order to handle empowered lasers, at least the best place in our opinion. That won't necessarily be the same place for you, so keep in mind that a lot of things, like you might not have saw blades going back and forth when you run back after the second shredder. There might not be lots of fire in the way, who knows. But it's something to keep in mind when you're watching this video, is that what we do may not necessarily be the same that you do, but the tank swaps will probably be relatively similar. In order to handle the 5th shredder efficiently, I take 4 stacks of electrostatic charge this time. The first 2 just go through. The third one I use Barkskin on, and then the 4th one I use Might of Ursoc. Now, or alternatively, you can just eat the third one as long as you're not going to die from having the bosses in rage up or what have you. However, I don't really like rolling dice like that, so I just tend to Barkskin the third one and then Might of Arsock the fourth. The reason you need to do that is because you need Survival Instincts up for the fifth charge, which happens after you kill the fourth Shredder. So I run off for the fourth Shredder, and this time I'll also have Incarnation and Nature's Vigil up again, so it just kind of evaporates. However, it's very possible that depending on when you used Incarnation the first time, you might not get it until partway through the fourth Shredder, so just be aware. I like to pop Incarnation like maybe a couple seconds before I get to the first Shredder so that it'll be up right when I want it to be, but just something that you need to keep in mind when you are planning your cooldown usage. So after the fourth Shredder dies, I repeat what I did before, go back to the boss, use Survival Instincts, taunt, get a fifth stack of the debuff, run back out, kill the next Shredder. Now this Shredder, the fifth Shredder, happens during Belt 7, which is when, if you're using the strat that you see in our video, that's when you'll have mines up. Now, I purposely like to tank this Shredder near where the mines spawn so I can cleave damage off of the mines. For this Shredder I use Berserk again, because chaining cleaves onto the mines is really, really good, helps kill mines faster, and it puts you in a perfect position to drop Ursul's Vortex. So right after I get the fifth stack, I run back, help with mines, because it'll take a little bit for the Shredder to spawn, so you can help out with mines before the Shredder spawns, and then the Shredder will spawn, you'll take it, cleave damage some mines. Make sure you're communicating with your melee, because if they're in there with the mines and the death from above happens, it'll be really, really bad. So you gotta make sure that you're aware of where your melee DPS are in relation to the Shredder when death from above is going to happen, so that they don't get instantly vaporized. But after that, this is the last Shredder you'll do. I mean, assuming that your DPS is relatively similar to ours. Then after this, I just go back to the boss and tank the boss for the rest of the encounter, because my off tank is going to go, or my second tank is going to go and grab the next Shredder, which will be the last one that we have to kill. In terms of tanking items for this encounter, you obviously want to run with the tanking metagem. I mean, how can you not, basically? As for the cloak, this is kind of an option. I really like to have the DPS cloak, because the extra procs on the Shredders are incredibly helpful. Plus this is extra DPS on the boss, and when mines come out, extra DPS on mines, etc, etc. It's totally up to you what your choice is. Just be aware that if you're not running the DPS cloak, you're going to have, you may run into some DPS issues on the Shredders, but that's just something you need to be aware of and plan accordingly. For talents, I really like Wild Charge in Tier 1 because it allows you to handle a missile if you get hit by a missile by accident and it knocks you up, or if you get hit by death from above and it knocks you up, it's not the end of the world, you can just charge back down. So I like having that safety net, plus it allows you to get to Shredders or back to the boss really, really easily, so that's something I really enjoy having from that talent tier. You could go with Feline Swiftness, I guess, but that charge is just so valuable in this fight that I don't think I'd be able to give it up. Tier 2, Ysera's Gift. I mean, you could make some cases for Cenarian Ward, but I mean, you don't, in general, in any situation where you would be using Cenarian Ward, you want the GCD more. So you want pretty much just stick with Ysera's Gift. Tier 3, this entirely 100% depends on what strat you're using. If you're killing mines, you will probably want Mass Entanglement. If you're not killing mines, I like Typhoon for just the one mine wave you end up getting, but it's really personal opinion. I'd talk it over with your group and figure out how you're going to approach the mines, or how many mines you're going to get, or what have you, and that'll help you sort out which talent you pick in this tier. Tier 4 is Incarnation. Like, this isn't even a choice. You pretty much, I wouldn't say you have to take Incarnation because of Shredders, but you would be a fool not to. Tier 5, Vortex, again, mines. This is easily the best talent in this entire tier for mines, like, not even close. And then Tier 6, Nature's Vigil, again, for Shredders. You could make a case for Dream of Cenarius. A lot of the time you're not in range of people that are taking damage, particularly melee, because you're like way off in the middle of nowhere killing a Shredder. Plus, Nature's Vigil provides some serious off-healing during magnets. That's when I like to use it. I like to use Nature's Vigil during, so I use it on the first Shredder, on the first magnet, on the fourth Shredder, and then the magnet following that. There is actually a magnet on the fourth Shredder, so there'll be some off-healing there anyway. But it lines up really nice with magnet phases. If I guess I should caveat that if you're using the strat that we are, then it'll line up really nice with magnet phases, and it provides some serious off healing because your healers are having to constantly move and not necessarily be able to heal everyone as much as they otherwise would be able to, and you can't even use Heart of the Wild, so there's no point in tanking it. Anything Guardian specific I've already covered during the how to handle the shredders on Heroic or the talent sections. Most of the learning on this fight as a tank is determining when you can position a shredder and where you can position it, pretty much. That's all the learning. It took me a while to figure out where I like to put shredders for our strat, but that's something you're going to have to work out with your own group. I can't tell you because I have no idea what strat you're using. I can tell you easily where to put them for this particular strat, but no, I wouldn't say any two groups kill the same weapons on the belt, so who knows. It's really up to you. It's something you're going to have to figure out. Don't be afraid to sit it in... well, I will say that positioning it in fire is a lot harder than it looks, especially when you have missiles going on, because it tends to move out of the fire when you're dodging missiles. Same with saw blades. Saw blades are a whole other animal. There's like a sweet spot where like it looks like it's in a saw blade, but it's not red, so it's not. That's why I generally like to not rely on weapons to kill the shredders, because they're not 100% reliable, and the shredder needs to die by a certain point, so I can't, and since the weapon can't be guaranteed, I can't rely on it to actually kill it. So I just use my own items, cooldowns, and so on to make sure that the shredder dies. In any case, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and good luck with your own Siegecrafter Blackfuse kills.
7.
Oh boy, I got 2 of them now.
Coming.
Get those mines.
What belt is this?
This is 8. I'm on it.
I'm tracking.
Rally. Got the boss.
Belt's good.
Magnet.
Good God, that was crazy.
Finish the
Why are you
boss.
going on the belt? Why are you going on the belt?
Because why not?
Because he's at 2%.
Better safe than sorry.
Except I'm not up there.
Nice.